All right, we are now live. All right, we are now live. All right. Gosh, that was awful. Okay, that's fixed. All right, but it's good to know my volume's coming through. So I've been doing my best to unlock all the components in this game. Last couple of days, life IRL has gotten in the way of me actually playing. Plus, servers were down for a bit, which kind of messed up my plans to stream 2 days ago. But we are making progress. Right now, I am working on the mission to unlock the combat suit, which is my personal favorite in this game. It's what I used during the beta. And I'm trying to unlock all the components. I have all the sensors. I have 2 of the 4 engines, 2 of the 4 pilot cannons, 3 of the 4 multi-turrets, 2 of the 4 special weapons. I have all the reactors, and I only have the starting biofusion fission generator. So I've got 2 more generators to unlock. The areas we have unlocked at this point, those are going to be giving us those components. As you can see, it says components and map chart fragments here. There's 2 components in the Pillars of Korra that I haven't gotten, and 3 map chart fragments. There's also 3 components in Kren. I have everything out of Atira and out of the Tivian Expanse. So I'm going to go ahead and start knocking out the ones in the Pillars of Korra. Let's see. This challenge for sabotage seems fun, but because there's only 2 jumps, I'm a lot less likely to find components and map chart fragments, so I'm going to choose something different. Artillery. You know what? Let's do this challenge 3 artillery here. Lots of people have been having trouble doing artillery in solo, so that would be a good thing to show. For ship, we have unlocked the 2 different ships. We've got the Catamaran and the Dart. As you can see, I've got them renamed, but their names show up just below whatever you've renamed them to. Yeah, no, it's coming. I have most of them unlocked, and I had them all unlocked in the beta, so I know how they function. So I'm already ready to... I've got screenshots from the beta, and the devs have given us the okay to start showing stuff from the beta, so that's awesome. The NDA is lifted enough that I can start talking about that, so that'll be good. I am trying to unlock them all in early access, which... some of these got added like just before the beta ended and early access started, so I didn't really have time to get them all to Mark III, but I did get to try them all out, which was pretty fun. We're going to take the Dart on this one. And yeah, they're all good. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. Some are better for multiplayer, some are better for single player, and some are better for the different ships. For the Catamaran or for the Dart, there are a lot of different things you can do with them. Also, some are very dependent on the build that you choose to take. For instance, the mining lasers for the assault turrets and the... I forget what they're called, but they're all the equivalent of that for the pilot cannons. They're lasers. They take no ammo, but they do a lot less damage. They have crazy rapid fire, and if you get any of the artifacts that boost the ship's rate of fire, then they will absolutely shred things and have some of the best DPS in the game, but it's situational. However, they do take fewer slots on the power grid, and so oftentimes are a lot easier to slot into a build when it's crammed full of things, because there's actually a special weapon that takes up 9 spots on the power grid. And we got a map chart fragment here, so that's perfect. I won't be able to go to the trader if I get that, but we're going to go that direction. John, thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. So, Like I said, if anybody's got any questions or suggestions, please let me know. I'm going to be making a lot of content on this game up through 1.0 more than likely, so let me know what you want to see, and it'll get moved to the top of the priority list for things I'm going to be creating. I have a long list of videos that I plan to make for this. Alright, we got elite gunship, a missile gunship, and then a bunch of fighters. And there's sentries. Probably ignore the sentries unless we get too close. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to drop the missile gunship first, and then worry about the rest. I love the Dart. People have taken issue with the Dart, and there is some design updates the devs are planning to do to it that are going to improve it, make it a little bit easier to get to the top floor and the bottom floor where you gather the materia, repair components, etc. But for maneuverability and firepower, when you're playing solo or duos, the Dart is incredible. I used both the Catamaran and the Dart heavily in the beta, and they're both really good for what you use them for. Well, buddy, that was about as far off as you could have been. There's the missile. Let's deal with that. One of the best ways to deal with locked-on missiles is to take out anything that's going to fire them at you quickly, but also just be fast, which the Dart excels at. My favorite engine was the Drift Pulse engine. Or not the Drift Pulse, the Nitro Pulse engine, sorry. The Nitro Pulse engine was my personal favorite because at Mark III, it had 5 boosts, and it was the fastest engine in the game. Now, it doesn't say it's the fastest engine in the stats, which I wouldn't be surprised if the devs decide to ultimately adjust that. Go-to difficulty is difficulty 5. That's my preference. But I do them all. And there were some people that found the game to be a bit too difficult during the beta. So they made some adjustments before they put it into early access. Honestly, if we could have modifiers to make difficulty 5 even harder, I would absolutely love it. But, yeah, I'd hate that buoy. I'm going to have to do these sentries. I played a lot of max difficulty Deep Rock Galactic, so I guess in some ways I'm a bit of a masochist. I like it hard. But people playing on lower difficulties, perfect sense. I mean, we're here to have fun, so if the harder difficulties isn't something you enjoy, then don't do it. But like I was saying, the Nitro Pulse engine is my personal favorite engine. It's the stats don't show it, but it is technically the fastest engine in the game. It's just not nearly as agile as the starting engine, the Drift Phase. The Drift Phase engine is the most agile of the engines. Soloable? Absolutely, yes. Everything in this game is soloable. In some ways, solo is a little bit easier for some things than it is in multiplayer. It really depends on your crew. If you're good, doing it solo is sometimes easier than if you're doing it with a team that's not as experienced. It's harder to carry a team in this game than it is in some other games, say, such as Deep Rock Galactic, what I mentioned before. In Deep Rock Galactic, it's easier to carry inexperienced players than it is in this game. In this game, teamwork is very important. But it's still pretty doable. Sorry if there's background noise. My nieces are here. I have noise cancellation on the mic, but it's not perfect, so. Now, as you can see, I brought in with me an on-foot ammo box. Whenever you're doing one of these longer on-foot missions, I like to bring in an ammo box if I have any good guns, because I will be using them heavily, and being able to refill your ammo just makes it a lot easier. And I mean, these ammo crates, they only cost 10 materia. It's not like they're expensive. Oh, hello, friend. Didn't see you. Goodbye. So oftentimes in this area, there's some decent weapons. So I'm going to have a quick look around. Deployable shield. I probably won't need that. I recommend when you come to areas like this that require batteries, this is a good safe spot to chill. I usually put an ammo crate in a safe spot where you can resupply inside of cover. I'm going to have a quick look around. Mark 0 Maw. I'm just going to send that back to ship. Doesn't really interest me, but it will be worth credits at the end of the mission. I do love the Maw. It's not that I'm not interested. I just have better guns on me right now. Before you crack these crates here, objectives, no enemies are going to spawn in until you crack those, so you are free to take a quick look around and make sure there's nothing worth grabbing. It should be most everything. There's a little room up there that you can see there through that window. I'm going to check there real quick. Usually there's not much in there, but I'd rather check it and make sure. Yeah, nothing. Okay. At least we checked it. And at this point, I am free to start cracking these crates. Nothing here. Nothing here. More than likely, I'm going to have to go to the one that's farthest away. We got one here and one here. So that's 2 of the 3 I need. So I will have to go to the far one. And the bots are starting to come. And something that's cool, these little walkers, they now will jump over cover, which is not something they did at the beginning of the beta. That's a fairly recent addition. I love it. Took me by surprise the first time. I ducked behind cover to get away from one of those walkers, and then all of a sudden he's like, hello. Oh, spider bots. Also, if you're jumping around, you're a little bit harder for the enemies to track. Got a heavy. He's down. Oh, didn't see you. Good shot, buddy. Okay, I just heard a heavy spawn. We're tank. And I'm heading right for it. Let's fall back. Now, if you haven't figured it out, gamer brain, you probably have. We always aim for the glowy bits, right? No different here. The red eyes on these things are always their weak point. It's true of all the bots. Alright, he's going to have a free shot on me. Goodbye. And as you can see, my javelin has only got 3 shots left. A little tip. When you are resupplying, it does not reload your magazine. It only reloads your supply. So you don't necessarily have to drop to 0 ammo before you hit a resupply to get the max amount of ammunition off of it. You just have to have 1 magazine left. And at that point, you'll get the max reload. And there are 4 stems inside the ammo crate that you can take, and so that's worth 4 reloads. And it doesn't reload all your ammos, it just reloads whichever one is in your hand at the moment. And those things hit like a truck. Those walkers with shields, drop those quickly. I hear a laser beam. Okay, let's take cover. As you can see, he ate through my shields instantly. Those things are brutal. But they're glass cannons. So, get a shot on... I hear another one. Where is he? There he is. Gotcha. Hello, friend. Alright, and I think I got all the batteries out of here. Yep, so I gotta go to the far one now. Oh, by the way, guys, these are explosive. It's demonstrated in the prologue, but you don't actually use it to take out enemies in the prologue, and you can. So, if you got the opportunity, it's great fun. There's always at least one more battery than you actually need. That's just in case any weirdness happens, like one is clips through the floor or something silly, so you can still complete the mission. I think there's only one particular area that I'm aware of where you don't get an extra. And I have had issues on that one in the previously, but I do believe they fixed that in a fairly recent patch. Okay. No need at this point to mop up the enemies, but they will stop spawning now that all the batteries are in, and I would like to top off my guns before I move on. Any HP damage I take at this point is not a big deal, because frankly, I'm just going to heal when I get back to the ship anyway, so I am not overly worried about it. Alright, guns are fully topped off. Moving on. The enemies will continue to spawn until you get all the batteries in, so that if you can, especially if you're in a hurry or if you are hurting for health and ammo. Let's see, what do we got? Anti-ship personal on-foot weapons deal 22 times more damage to enemy ships. Now this is great in a crew setting, and solo player this one's hard to use, because if you leave your ship, especially when you're using the dart, you're going to have a problem. You're going to take a lot of damage. And someone is healed by eating a pizza slice. Gain that. No, that is the pineapple power. I love this artifact. I'm not on the catamaran, so it's completely useless because the dart does not have a pizza dispenser. So those artifacts are, unfortunately, I didn't get any other good artifacts. So those are either... The first one was for ship damage. I don't really have much use for that, unfortunately. Like I said, playing in solo player on the dart, I'd rather not use that, so I'm just going to scrap these for materia. Artifacts, they are destroyed when you jump if they are not inserted, so... running out of shelving space. Already. Alright. Next stop. Map chart fragment. I'll run the catamaran next. It's a little more versatile. I just felt like running the dart. It's fun for me. I enjoy the dogfighting in this game, so... I do think with a full crew, or with the right weapons, the catamaran can probably have higher damage output than the dart, but let's see, what do we got over here? There's the galaxy map chart fragment, buoy, ship remains, and it's all weak fighters. So unless I get jumped in an ambush, that should be pretty simple to deal with. What scanner did I have equipped? I don't even remember. It was... Oh, yeah. The supply drop scanner. Okay. I forget what that's called. Let's see. Supply uplink the unit. So basically, after a certain number of jumps, that you can call in a resupply. I think on the larger jumps, if you call it in as soon as it's available, you can get 2 resupplies in a single run, but I have never done that, and that is partially because I always forget to use it. I forget I have it equipped. Mark 1 Maw. That could be fun. I've been meaning to... I love my halberd, but I've been meaning to run the Maw for fun lately anyway, so... This Mark III halberd is pretty incredible, and I will definitely pick it up before I finish. I want to keep it, but let's grab that Maw in place of it for now and have a little fun. Alright. Ship fragments over here. Yeah. No, I feel you. My favorite mission, the dart, I agree. I love it. It's so much fun. What's my favorite mission? Ooh, that is a tough one. I think it needs a little tweaking, but artillery is probably my favorite. I just love the concept of we're capturing these cannons and helping a fleet mid-battle. Makes you feel kind of like a commando. I don't know. It's fun. Probably my favorite mission type. Like I said, I think it needs a little work. There have been a lot of complaints about the fact that the ships constantly spawn. And I get it. It was really brutal during the beta. They've toned it down a little bit. Yeah. Good thing I have them all. That'll be perfect for that. But yeah, that mission type is a lot of fun for me. Plus, the visuals in that mission type are incredible. Hello, friend. Okay. Yeah, small invasion. There was only 2 things. I'm used to there being like 6 things, and then all crammed into this little dart. Oh, there's some like gunships over here. I didn't see them before. Okay. Fighters are close enough. Let's mark those and go deal with that. I do want to grab this map chart fragment, but I get the feeling these guys are going to spot me before I'm done with that, so I'd rather my ship wasn't getting shelled while I deal with that. Nice shot, buddy. And I don't think those gunships are going to hassle me for the moment. I may eat those words. Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Plus, people are hoping that eventually there'll be multiple crew battles. They've said no, but I mean, they are taking player feedback, so who knows? Plus, with Corleones, what he's been saying is that if they get a million sales, wrong one. That's the thing people complain about on the Dart is grappling to the wrong point. He's been saying at a million sales, he's going to do us a battleship, and that may require more than 4 players. So if we don't get multiple crew battles, we might get more players, which would be pretty cool. Think Void Crew, them adding 6-player support. Let's see. Do I want to? I have tons of materia and no artifacts to benefit from having multiple. I'm just going to save that for credits for now. If I need it, I can scrap it later. And those gunships are still a pretty good distance away. I'm probably going to take them out in the hopes that they'll drop materia, but... let's see what we got here. Mass proxy. That's fire rate. Though that particular one, I think it feeds off materia. I'll have to double check it. I do believe that one feeds off materia. And the more materia you have, the faster your fire rate, which is really wonderful if you're running the laser cannons. Yep, based on the fill rate of your materia tanks. Now, I personally, I always leave this center slot open in the artifact cabinet, and the reason is because there is an artifact that boosts all the artifacts beside it. So it won't hit these sides, but the two beside it will get buffed. And just in case I find that one, I like to leave the middle slot open if I can. It can be upgraded once, and so it'll give 2 upgrade levels to the 2 artifacts beside it. So I try to put my most important artifacts on either side of the middle. Like this one's really powerful. Your opening shot on an undamaged enemy will do extra damage, and that can be buffed pretty. When ship's shields absorb a hit, heal the ship's core. That one's really good, but honestly, I think I'd rather have the extra fire rate. So I'm just going to feed that to that, buff it. Not that it's a bad artifact, because it's certainly not. It's very good. Passive healing's nice, but like I said, running out of shelf space. Probably one of the biggest issues on the Dart. We only have one place to go. There are the gunships over here. I'd like to deal with those just in case they drop a little bit of materia. Especially since I picked up that artifact that feeds off materia. And since I did pick up that artifact, I'm probably going to go ahead and put the scrap in the disassembler. Yep, there's some materia. Alright, cool deal. Took minimal damage. I don't see the materia. It's just going to be easiest to hit the scanner. Oh, I picked it up. Okay, cool. So Buddy just gathered it. Good deal. Okay, let's go ahead and jump. I'll worry about taking care of other things after the jump. Yeah. And they've already, having worked with them in the beta, Keepsake, they work hard. They've been working hard on this game. Okay. They're passionate about this game. And I love to see it. They're passionate about the game. They're working hard on it. They're going to be working hard on it for a long time to come. So, and I mean, they've already had phenomenal sales, which is great. I love to see it. I was absolutely hoping that would be the case. Alright, let's go ahead and top off shields. Since we are in an asteroid storm, let's try and take as little damage as possible. Some people struggle with the asteroid storms. My recommendations is to stay in cover as much as possible. And also leave the ship... We got mines over there. Okay, to leave the ship as little as possible. Your shields actually can take quite a thrashing on your person, not the ship. So if you jump out into space, it's going to be a bit before you start taking health damage. But once the shields are gone, you take damage rather quickly. So, that is way out in the open, it looks like. Now, I personally like to turn to where the side of the ship is facing the storm, since the ship is more slender that direction. I have no idea if it actually helps any, but in my mind it helps. So Let me enjoy myself, all right? Before you jump out into space during an asteroid storm to gather loot, my recommendation is to drop anything you don't want to lose on the ship. Because if you go down in space, especially when you're playing in multiplayer, it's going to be hard for your teammates to revive you. And you may wind up having to revive yourself by damaging the ship. Alright, I need to get back to the ship. Taking too much health damage. Gotten it a little close there, Mike. Alright. Like I said, you take health damage pretty fast when you're flying loose in an asteroid storm. And that's why I prefer to leave my weapons on the ship, because if you have to self-revive, it'll bring you back to the ship, but leave your weapons floating in space. Let's see. Ooh, this one's really nice. Grid redirector. So basically, any power grid slot that you are not using will buff your attack power of your ship. You see I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 slots on the power grid that are not currently being occupied. So each of those slots are going to buff my attack power on my ship's cannons. After destroying an enemy ship, you take 20% less damage. That's really good. And then, of course, Pizza Brawler is a wonderful artifact. I absolutely love it. As I don't have a pizza assembler, that's kind of useless to me right now. So that's just going to get fed to another artifact. And as you can see, I'm trying to keep the middle slot open just in case I get that one artifact that buffs the other artifacts. And this one I can feed to something else. For the extra damage potential, I'm going to put that there. I picked up a lot of artifacts that are just really good at buffing the ship's overall damage output. So, dogfighting is going to be pretty easy this mission. Alright. Let's set the destination out. Not ready to jump yet, but... Alright, getting to this point... What am I seeing over here? Oh, okay. Getting to this point, I'm going to try and stay in cover as much as I can help. It does look like I'm going to have to expose the ship a little bit. There's some cover here. Let my boost recharge, and then go. There's cover there. Staying in cover can take you a little out of your way, but it's better than getting pummeled by the asteroids. Alright. While that does that, I'm going to run ship repairs. I think I had a shield unit left. Yeah, I think I only had one charge. Yeah, so I'm going to need a second. I'm so in shelled. That was brilliant. Thought I was in cover. Oh well. Let's see, is that out in the open? It looks like it. There might be a little bit of cover right there. No, there really isn't. I'm just going to have to eat it. Let's see, can I rotate? No, it's still hidden here. Okay. And the mines I'm just going to have to ignore. There's no convenient way for me to get to them. Where's my jump point? There it is. So ideally you want to try and make your jump from behind cover, not just because you don't want to get shelled by the asteroids, but the asteroids actually have the potential to knock you out of your jump. I learned that the hard way. So if you can get behind cover before you try to make your jump, it's going to make things a little bit easier, but looks like Buddy used the large repair that I had on the ship. Perfect. And the damage you take from those asteroids, it does scale based upon the difficulty of the mission. So bear that in mind. Alright, so this is the final jump of the mission. And like I said, this is my personal... How many uses? 3? So I got 3 uses left. Okay. I probably won't be repairing the shields between waves. Probably won't have a lot of time to do that. If I do, I will. If not, I'm just going to trust Buddy to keep the ship alive. I have a pretty decent materia supply. I need to pick up my guns. There's usually a couple points of materia floating in the mission type. I will grab them after I claim this first cannon. I personally, when using the boost on the ship, I like to feather it out instead of just spamming all the boosts, because once your ship hits max speed, you can't go any faster until it starts to lose speed. Max speed with this engine on the Dart is 130 on the speed gauge. Now, being in the US, we go by miles kilometer. Most places in the world, I think, use kilometers per hour. I have no idea what the gauge is on this. Probably kilometers. This is a Swedish game, so made game, so more than likely that's the metric they're using, especially given the fact that everything else in the game is in kilometers and meters. So honestly, I have never understood why we all have different measurements, but to each their own, I guess. Kind of feel like one universal way of looking at things would be make things simpler for everybody, but what do I know? And there it is. And for the record, I used to do carpentry. I had to use all those different measurements. I don't care what everybody picks. Just pick one and I'll use it. Alright, Legion ships are coming. Let's try and grab that materia I saw. We need ship ammo. So let's crap that and sell that. It's a little bit cheaper for me to do it than to let Buddy do it. And getting materia starved in this mission is a very real possibility. I am going to have to rely on him doing it most of the time in this, but any I can help him out. Cool deal. Alright, and those dropped some materia. While we're waiting for the... Looks like there's at least one more ship, and I hear more spawning in. Alright. They're over there. He's over here. Just a weak fighter. Okay. And a sniper. Ooh, I want those down. Those things hit like a truck. But like the laser drones, they are glass cannons. They take next to nothing to drop, if you can catch them. Cool. For those who have not done this mission type yet, I'm dealing with the ships right now because that's all that's here. Once cannons B and C appear and they start getting claimed by the enemies, I'm going to, for the most part, ignore the enemy ships as much as I can help. Because the faster you claim the cannons, the faster this mission ends. And the ships will stop dropping materia after a short time. After you've destroyed enough of them, they no longer Oh, that's weird. All cannons are marked as A. That is obviously a glitch. I will report that to the devs after this stream, provided nobody else has already done it. Got a laser drone. So yeah, I encourage you guys while you're playing, if you run into bugs, the devs, they want to know so they can fix it. Their official Discord has a dedicated page to bug finding. We are in early access. Bugs are to be expected. So if you see it, let them know, or you can put it up on their socials. They'll probably see it there. I'm pretty active on Reddit. If I see you guys reporting a bug the devs don't know about, I will link your post to their Discord if you're not comfortable going in Discord. Some people aren't. All right, let's get to the other cannon. Fortunately, it's a little bit harder since they're all marked A to know which ones are in contest. Since the indicators are not turning green, which I think is another bug, but oh well. We will make do. Honestly, having worked in the beta, I've seen lots of bugs, so the devs have just completely demolished. They've really worked hard to get this game in as good a shape as they could. Um, Unfortunately, they added some new content just before early access launched, and there were a couple of bugs in the new content, and there was no time to fix them before launch, so they weren't game breaking or anything, but they didn't have time to deal with it then. So I think some of that's already been patched, which is impressive that they got on it that fast. And whatever they haven't fixed at this point, they're currently working on. So I know Xbox players have had a real unfortunate time of it. They are diligently working on correcting that. Unfortunately, Microsoft has a stricter system where they have to approve updates to games. So they can't push patches through for Xbox players as fast as they can for those of us on Steam. But honestly, they're working real hard. I feel like they've done a great job, and I feel like this game has amazing bones. What is here is so good. Engage cannon C. Okay, well, we're just gonna guess. Did I not? Did I not turn this one on? I think I must have ignored it. That was stupid. Okay. It's kind of throwing me off everything being marked as A, but oh well. For as ambitious as this game really is, for as good as it already is, even though it's not a finished product, I'm willing to give these guys some grace. I think Keepsake is doing a wonderful job. And this has been my most anticipated game in years. when I first learned about this game was shortly before the demo came out. There were people that were following it long before that. But shortly before the demo came out, I learned about this game, was super excited. It was exactly the kind of game I was looking for me and my friends. And yeah, I went on their website and applied for the beta, said I was interested. And I don't know, it took maybe a week, maybe two. I was really fortunate. I got sent an email that I had been admitted into the beta. It was really cool. So, incoming assault on Cannon C. I think that was this one. So I got really fortunate. Nothing special about me to get brought into the beta or anything. Just random chance. Everybody got picked randomly on whoever asked to be brought into the beta. So it's not like I was shown any preferential treatment or anything. I just got really fortunate. I know there were a lot of people that wanted to get in the beta, and a lot did it, unfortunately. I wish everybody could have gotten the opportunity, but having that many people in the beta would not have been helpful to the devs, because they needed a small enough group that they could actually hear everybody. Otherwise, they would have been getting far too much information to actually be able to do anything about what they were getting reported. Now, in this mission type, I just ignore ship health for the most part, because Buddy's going to keep the ship alive. I've got over 500 materia. That's 500 materia that he can craft repairs, and did it initiate? It did not. All right, well. All right. See, there he goes repairing. The faster I deal with the cannons, the better. Let's see, where is this guy? Here he is. When you are using these energy conduits, you are still mobile. And you are harder to hit if you are bouncing around. So if you're getting shot at while doing these things, move around, duck behind cover if there's cover to duck behind. It'll help you to take less damage. That's convenient. Which cannon? C? Okay. I think I'm memorizing which is which at this point. As you can see, the enemy fleet is dying very quickly up in that red gauge, and that's because I am focusing on the enemy ships. And you see, they put a little bit of dent in my materia supply, but not too bad, and Buddy's keeping the ship alive, so I have more than enough materia for Buddy to keep the ship going until this mission is over. It's not where I was trying to grapple. That is. Thank you. Alright, well, that should be the mission. I need to duck back to my ship fast. And hopefully grab my halberd before the mission ends, because it cuts to a cutscene. I may not have time. We'll see. Especially if I'm struggling. Nope, I'm going to lose my halberd. Oh well. Well, I'm stuck with this ball now. Oh well. I should have grabbed it before I did the cannon, but I did not, so. Alright, good deal. We got a map chart fragment. I don't think we got any components off that, unfortunately. All right. The gun I'm most concerned about is this javelin, though. The javelin's my personal favorite. I do love the halberd, but I also love them all, so not the end of the world. I wanted to try Mark III Lance Railgun. I didn't get to try that fully upgraded in the beta because the option to upgrade secondary or special weapons wasn't available until just before the beta went offline. All right, we did that. Let's got a cargo ship raid, got a distress call. Let's do this challenge 3 distress call, I think. Unless there's anything in particular you would like to see. If any of those sound more interesting for you to watch, just throw it in the comments. Let's see. I've got the Gatling turrets up to Mark II. And I've got the fragment cannon up to Mark III. The rapid pulse cannon I absolutely love. So that's something I plan on upgrading as soon as I have the ingots for it. Did I? Unfortunately, I didn't get any jammers in that mission. That is what I need to be taking down to get the combat suit. I love both these ships. I think they're really well designed. They do very different things. The Dart is great for dogfighting. If that's what you're interested in, then that's probably your best option. If you're looking for versatility, the Catamaran is your better choice. I think of the Cat as your all-arounder, and okay, we got a galaxy map fragment. I think of the Cat as your all-arounder, and then I think of the Dart as your more specialized dogfighter. I'm sure as we get other ships, they'll be specialized for different things. I'm thinking of the Cat's probably going to be our base. Alright, so we're going to make the jumps that take us to the map chart fragment because I'd like to get all the areas unlocked. There's 2 more as of the time of launch that I'm aware of that I can get to. And they got added literally just before early access opened up. But I did get to play them quite a bit. I think they were added about a week before early access launched. Okay. I have a targeting module equipped. I didn't realize. I thought I had double Lance railguns. That's okay. The problem with in solo running the targeting module, as you'll see this component, is that you have to use it. Buddy won't use it for some reason. He only uses the railgun and the missile launchers. The targeting module I've never seen Buddy use, and there's a shield that I've never seen Buddy use. So that's kind of a dead component for me right now, since Buddy's the one who's going to be manning the combat station. But that said, he won't be expending the extra ammo. So I will fix that in my next run. The targeting module, on the other hand, if you're running with a crew, is really solid. It gives a debuff to enemy ships to whatever ship you target, and the debuff makes it so they take extra damage. I think it's either 20 or 30% extra damage from all fire, and I believe it makes you more accurate, especially at hitting critical hits. So, very good. It doesn't really get marked here, but there is a bonus area right here. It may show up on your scanners temporarily, and then after you scan it, disappear. It happens frequently. But there will be a few limited bad guys. And then it's usually not absolutely loaded with loot, but I mean, every little bit helps, right? Okay, that's empty. Okay, we got some scrap. Oh, nice shot, bud. You got the other one. Good job. There's another. You can handle it. I think this is only difficulty 3, so things don't hit too hard. And certainly, the more players you have in, the higher the difficulty scales, regardless of your difficulty level. So there will be more enemies, etc. Which is something I'm interested in doing a follower stream, so to speak. Have you guys joined me? And if that sounds interesting, let me know. I'd like to get a chance to play games with you guys, set up a public lobby, let you all join, and we can get in some games together. I think that would be a lot of fun. So that is something else that is I would like to implement. Right now I'm just doing solo, but if you're interested in joining, let me know. And I don't care what your skill level is. It absolutely does not matter to me. If I lose my guns because we fail a mission, I am not worried about it. I can always find more. And eventually we're going to have vendors, so you'll be able to buy whatever guns you want, theoretically. Not 100% sure how the vendors are going to work, but all right, he's weak. Just hit him on the side. Let's see. I think there. Yep, I saw you. All right, I'm going to grab an on-foot ammo crate. Another strat that I've seen people use in multiplayer with this mission, this particular area, which is fun, is they will actually hover the ship. There's a gap over the target area, and you can fire down rain on top of the enemies with the ship. It's a ton of fun. Friendly fire is a thing, though. So, on-foot weapons, unless it's the rocket launcher, does not do friendly fire. But the ship is very capable of doing friendly fire, and it hits in a much larger splash radius than it would appear that it would. Was there something behind the wall, buddy? You're shooting at the wall. So yeah, be careful. If your friends are on the ground, shoot a very far distance away from them. You do not want to take out your friends. Unless you're just pranking them. In which case, I'm not going to throw any shade, but all right. Mark 1 javelin, that's cool. All right, I'm going to deploy this ammo crate over here. Well, that seems like something that needs to be dealt with. Inconvenient timing. But I guess that's the idea. Oh, hi, friend. Alright, there's another one up here. In the engine room. Yeah, I thought it was one of you guys. Okay, cool. The icon was low to the ground. I didn't figure it was a walker. Oh, another on-foot ammo crate. Cool. I probably won't need it, but I'm going to keep that with me just in case. Alright. I think that's everything. We can go ahead and get this mission started. Check over here real quick. There's a few credits. Nothing too serious. Oh yeah, there's a heavy. I see him. So again, his weak point is that eye. When his shield is up, the eye is inaccessible unless you're with multiplayer. And sometimes he'll put up the shield and then turn. And the shield does not turn with him. So you can, at that point... Oh, hit the wall. At that point, you can turn and hit the eye. I don't know, not open that? Okay. Hello, friends. Alright, let's go deal with that malfunction. Oh, hello. And I hear a laser bot. Let's get behind cover. Let's see. There's stuff right below me, right? No? I guess Buddy dealt with it. Good deal. That's a laser. Okay. One mag left, so I can refill. A lot of people say that the maw is a terrible weapon. I strongly disagree. It is definitely a close range weapon. And the reason why I disagree is because it is very powerful. With the right builds, it is very effective. A lot of the trouble people run into with the maw is that they attempt to chase enemies down and hit them with them all. And I hear something right behind me. Yep. They attempt to run the enemies down and then hit them with them all. You're going to be taking fire the entire time you're running them down. I strongly recommend against doing that. When you're using the maul, you want the enemies to come to you. Find a good defensive position behind cover and let them come to you. As soon as they peek around the cover, blast them in the face. Okay, we got one more break. Oh, it's a smiter. Okay. Well, this is just a button. We're going to do that. Flip it. Get out of the way. And then that should stop any more things from spawning in, which means I can just focus on clearing that. And he should be one shot with a crit. Yep. Let's make sure we've cleared up everything, and then I can fully top off my weapons. Good deal. And the moss fully... Okay. Large repair kit. Pizza Brawler, that's a good one. And Pineapple Power. You know what? I'm recording this stream, so I'm going to demonstrate how Pizza Power works. And I'll put it into a shorter form video for everybody to check out later. Right. Inventory's full. Alright. This is Pizza Brawler. Let's go ahead and... This is going to be a pizza build. And that is Pineapple Power. So we're going to install both of those. I think that's all the artifacts. Everything else I can mess with after I jump to the next sector. And we're going to the galaxy map. The nice thing about this game is that it's adaptive. If you're doing really well, it starts throwing all kinds of stuff at you to keep it exciting. It's really fun when you're on difficulty 5, and then things just keep happening left and right. Solar flares, asteroid storms, ambushes. Means you're doing pretty good. All right. Portable jammer. Yeah, what you seeing, buddy? Galaxy map there. Buoy there. You already scanned all that. We got some missile gunships, weak fighters, elite fighters. Okay, cool. These credit cases, they're not, because vendors are not in the game yet, credits are not super valuable at the moment, but as soon as vendors are added to the game, those credits will have a use. So go ahead and stockpile those credits now, guys. I don't have a lot of materia yet, so I'm not going to be able to give a great demonstration of Pizza Power yet. But I'll go ahead and do one hit. How you buff yourself. So pizza costs 5 materia. And to buff yourself for Pineapple Power, I always call it Pizza Power, you're going to want to cook a pizza, but you're going to want to burn it. Burning it causes 3 fires on the ship and damages you by the fire. I like to have 2 spots open in the inventory so I can hold a fire extinguisher. And then I take damage down to 80 health. Right now I'm at an uneven number, so it's not going to be perfect, but 4 slices of pizza at 80 health will bring you back to full health. And this allows you to continue to heal yourself, which with the pizza. Healing HP damage with pizza when you have Pineapple Power artifact installed on the ship will give you a damage buff, both to your melee and your handheld firearms. And I'm only going to do it that amount of times right now. That's not much of a buff, but I'm going to show you guys what you're looking at. Okay, so if you come up to the artifact, it'll tell you what your current buff is. So right now I'm plus 12. The more artifacts you feed to this, you notice it can go all the way up to level 5, and each time you do that, it'll increase the buff. Also, the more pizza you eat, the more buff you get. And again, for the pizza to take effect, you have to be healing HP. If you do that, then you're going to continue to get buffed. And I've gotten it to like 230%, above 200%. These weapons can basically one-shot anything shy of a Corvette. And on a Corvette, it only takes about 4 shots to take it, to 3 shots to disable, 4 shots to kill it. So, but it takes some commitment. You're going to take, you notice I took a little bit of hull damage starting those fires. So you're going to take a little bit of hull damage doing that. You're going to use up 5 materia per pizza. To get the artifact maxed out, you're going to have to feed 4 artifacts to the pineapple power artifact, or you're going to have to have the artifact that powers up adjacent artifacts. And if you power that up once, then it'll be 2 power-ups for pineapple power if it's next to it. Which means you've only got to power up pineapple power itself twice to get the maximum buff. But either way, you could do that, and then it'll give you maxed out pineapple power, which will give you a substantial buff to each pizza you've eaten already. It's retroactive. So it's not like the pizza you've eaten is only affected by the current buff of the artifact. No, the more you buff the artifact, the more you've already eaten will buff you. Let's see what we got. We got any artifacts? That'd be great. Yep. Legion blueprints. That's good. Resonant amplifier. Okay, that's the one I was talking about that buffs your artifacts. Small repair kit. Very cool. So I'll get to demonstrate how that one artifact works to buff the other artifacts. It is probably my favorite artifact in the game just because it buffs everything. Let's see, Legion blueprints, resonant amplifier. Okay, so it says adjacent artifacts have +1 level, and then you can upgrade it 1 level. And so you see instantly both of these artifacts are now at level 2 just for this one being plugged in. So everything is lining up. I really love this one, but let's see. And I really love that one. These are great artifacts, but let's do a pineapple power. Feed one there, and then buff the other one, and then I'll buff the other 2. Okay, so that's at max level now. So you see pineapple power is now at level 4. If I get one more artifact in this run, I can fully max out pineapple power. And you'll also notice I was at like plus 12 on my buff. Now that pineapple power has been leveled up twice, you notice my current is plus 24. So leveling it up stacks whatever you've done to power yourself up very quickly. I am interested in, now that I have materia, eating more pizza and getting the buff higher. But I would like to gather the galaxy map before any random events should occur that would force me to leave this sector prematurely. So I'm going to take care of that and the buoy. Then, if nothing's heckling me, I will worry about the pineapple power artifact and getting that buffed up. I think for on-foot combat, pineapple power is probably the most busted artifact in the game right now. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't really feel like there are any bad artifacts in the game. They all have their benefits. Ammo crate. Nice. Gonna stick that here. Okay, I didn't have anything to deposit. Let's make some ship ammo. Shields and hull health are still maxed out. And let's go ahead and buff our pizza power a little bit. The regions, the missions that you will get in the regions are different. Plus, some regions are more challenging than others. Some are more likely to have difficulty 5 missions, and some are more likely to have lower difficulty missions. The ones you unlock later tend to have higher difficulty missions. Also, you're more likely to get certain mission types in the different regions. Like the Vault, which is one of the newer mission types. They got added just before early access. With that one, it was only available, and I forget the region's name, but I'll take a look at it when we get back to the hangar. But for a long time, the Vault was only available in one sector. Now it's in a couple of different sectors. But yeah, it's far more likely in that area where it originated. Let's see, I'm still getting shelled here, so we're not in cover. Let's see if I can take cover here. Will that work? Yeah, that seems to be working. All right, cool deal. Shields took a bit of damage, but hull was fine. And I could be mistaken on this, but I feel like certain sectors that you could get, random jumps that you could get, are more likely in certain regions. And of course, probably the biggest differences between the different sectors is what you could potentially find, because there are different components in each area, and there are different map chart fragments in each area. So you really have to play them all to get everything. And then, of course, the only place to get the dart is the Tivian Expanse. You can't find it in any other region. So I suspect that as more gets added to the game and things progress, as the devs keep adding to this game, that they will continue to be more and more diversified, which will be really cool to see. We'll have to see what they've got planned. The vault area, which I find particularly pretty, it's basically an underground garden when you get down to the bottom of it, and I find it to be really cool to look at. That is probably, in my opinion, one of the most unique locations. But then there's also some snowy worlds that are really pretty to look at. Of course, that's dependent on whether or not you like snow. Not everybody does. When do the missile launchers special gun spawn? I believe that is in Kryn. I will have to double check the map, but I believe that is the region where that is unlocked. Which I'm really excited to get the missile launchers. The only reason I haven't rushed to do that is because I have been systematically going through each region and trying to get everything out of them. And yeah, it's specific to each region. The components and the map charts fragments that you are capable of finding will be specific to the region. It's not randomized. And that's a good thing because it makes it so that unlocking regions is possible. Imagine if you're in one of the starting regions and you've got map chart fragments from all the different sectors. Let's say there's only 4 findable map chart fragments, but it's randomized. Well, you may never be able to unlock the other regions because it's going to take 4 map chart fragments to unlock a single region. And if you've got 4 in the sector and 1 from each different area, you're going to get 1 from each area and never unlock anything and not be able to progress. So the fact that it is specific to each region is a good thing in that regard. Plus, if you're starting on a new profile and you're familiar with the game, it makes it a little bit easier to find the specific components that you are looking for. There is a wiki being made right now for this game. I was chatting with the guy making the wiki on Discord this morning. He was testing out certain controller things for the wiki, and I was helping him test a few of those things this morning. So I'm sure that information will be uploaded onto the wiki. If it's not there already, I'm sure it will be there as soon as possible. It's certainly a work in progress. This game is still early, but it's great that we've got people dedicated to making that kind of stuff happen. And I'm going to have, let's see, what's my material at? All right, well, I'm going to get down to where I only have 100 material left. I'm going to focus on repairing the ship. And I'm probably going to stop doing the pizza power, the pineapple power buff at that point and just evaluate what we've got. So 1 more pizza, I'm thinking, and then we'll move on. Oh, yeah. Tell you what, I will link the wiki as soon as I have. I might just throw it up in the chat, but I'll probably throw it up in the description on this video, on this live stream, so that people who watch afterwards can find it. So after this, give me 1 second. I'm going to get the ship repaired just in case any silliness happens, like another asteroid storm. And then I'll see if I can link that for you. Okay, guns are at max. Let's craft a shield unit. Do we have any small repairs? We do. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and put that in. Like I said, the wiki is a work in process. Like I said, the wiki is a work in process, so don't expect it to be complete yet. And if you're interested in contributing, I mean, by all means, please do. The sooner we get it put together, the better. Let's go to the rocky debris. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna check for that wiki real quick. Let's see if we can get that. See if we can get that pulled up. I mean, if you just look for jump space wiki, you should be able to find it, but I'll throw up the link anyway. It's not the fandom one. There is a fandom one already up, but we're going to do, it's this one here. Okay. And let's see. Nope. I'm sorry, my brain is in streamer mode. I'm having a brain toot how to even manage my web browser. So just be patient with me for 2 seconds. Save. And then bookmarks. Okay, there it is. I'm just gonna copy the URL and I'm gonna throw that up in chat. So here we go. Throwing it up in chat now. Paste and post. Yeah, I'll definitely be streaming more. Join in anytime. Like I said, I'm hoping to do viewer streams. So when that happens, I will give a heads up before I go live, and you are more than welcome to join. I appreciate you joining, and I hope you have fun playing the game, man. Definitely more fun to be playing it than watching me do it, I think. Let's see. I'm a little low on materia right now. I'm going to go ahead and scrap that. Rocket launchers are fun. I'm just going to stick this up on the bridge, so I have easy access to it if I so choose to goof off blowing up ships. I am curious. I have not tested it. I wonder if pineapple power buffs the rocket launcher. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't. If I come across a Corvette, I'm kind of interested in getting the component, which would destroy it, but I wouldn't be surprised if a rocket launcher blast with pineapple power would be sufficient to one-shot a Corvette. Because, I mean, a Mark III Maw is enough to three-shot a Corvette with a four-shot destroying it. So, rocket launcher hits a whole lot harder than the... rocket launcher hits a whole lot harder than a Maw, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's a one-tap. But like I said, I haven't tested it, so it's worth a shot. And guys, I'll be streaming every week. There's going to be videos every week. I'm trying to do every day. I'm trying to prepare a bunch of videos ahead of time so that we'll be able to stream every day. I'm not quite set up for that yet. But my hope is to be able to put out something new for you guys to check out each day. And Certainly, if you get fatigued, you don't have to watch every. Oh, there is a Corvette. Nice. You don't have to watch every day, but I want to be able to, in a timely fashion, turn out tutorials, guides, and information for this game and cover updates, etc. So my goal is to kind of get ahead of the game, just get it programmed to where it'll be consistent content. I missed yesterday. I was a bit under the weather. I had things planned. I was planning to stream yesterday and wound up being sick, so it did not work out. But my hope is to have something different for everybody to enjoy each day. Now, on this first Corvette, I want the component, so I am going to take that out the old-fashioned way. But if I can get another one in this run while I've got pineapple power, I do want to test that rocket launcher. Let's see, is there any other ships? Nah, just the Corvette. All right. Let's see if we can catch it. It's coming around this. There it is. Perfect. That was enough to disable it. Between Buddy's railgun shot and a couple of shots from a maw. With pineapple power, that disabled the Corvette. Alright, what do we got? Oh, the disruptor lasers. I was just talking about these. They are probably at base damage, the weakest component. But they take no ammo. So even if you're out of ammo, these are still useful. Or if you have a build that is extremely ammo hungry, these pilot cannons, they're still usable and will not affect your ammo supply. They're also they stack really nicely with, artifacts that increase your rate of fire, because they already have an insanely fast rate of fire. So if you buff that, then the damage goes through the roof. I feel like, while I haven't been able to test it side by side, because you can't take more than one pilot cannon in with you on the catamaran, on the Dart, it would be possible to take two different guns and then disable them and have one firing at a time and just see what the damage difference would be. So that's something that I might try and do a video on. But I am curious what the DPS would be in comparison with the disruptor laser, and when you have rate of fire artifacts plugged into the machine and upgraded, and then compared to, say, one of the harder hitting cannons, like the fragment cannon, like you start off with, or the rapid pulse cannon. I feel like the bolt accelerators would be... I'm not sure if that would be a good comparison, but it might be worth trying. The bolt accelerators are the slowest firing cannon in the game, but they're also the hardest hitting. They're a personal favorite, particularly on the Dart, because they hit like a truck. They work like a sniper rifle, which, I mean, hey, my favorite weapon is the Javelin, so it makes perfect sense that I would enjoy a cannon that functions like that. But they are full automatic, like every other cannon in the game. I personally do not use them as if they are full automatic, though. I prefer to treat them like they are semi-automatic, where you have to pulse the trigger, so to speak. And the reason I prefer to do that is because when you're hitting smaller ships like fighters... Okay, become available. There we go. There's another rocket launcher. When you pulse them, it's easier to be more accurate with them, because they fire so slowly. If you're trying to track a small thing like a fighter, by the time that the weapon fires, you may no longer be on target. However, if you pulse them like they are semi-automatic, then you're not going to be pulling the trigger until you know that you're dead on target, and they're going to fire instantly because they weren't already firing. So you're on target, you're immediately shooting. And with fighters, the bolt accelerators at Mark III, they only take one shot, even on the highest difficulty for fighters. So it's an instant kill, no matter what. That will probably be a Corvette. Nah, darn. It's only a heavy gunship. I was hoping it would be a Corvette so I could properly test that rocket launcher. But alas, it is not. Reflective Wrath, Desperate Barrage, Ship-Fed Fury, Small Ship Repair. Okay. The fragment cannons that I have installed on this ship are at Mark III, which means they're as powerful as they can be. But you know what? I have a disruptor laser on the ship. It's only Mark I, but Buddy, he can compensate for my damage loss, and I think I just picked up an artifact that's going to buff their rate of fire. So even at Mark 1, theoretically the damage should be okay. We'll try it. Let's see. Let's just shove this up here. I did get, that's Desperate Barrage. The ship shields go down, the ship deals plus. Okay, Ship-Fed Fury, that's really good. Okay, I didn't pick anything up that, oh wait, what's this one? Reflective Wrath? Nope. Okay, none of these actually increase damage with the, none of them actually increase rate of fire. This is just going to make Pizza Power even more buffed because it just gives a flat percentage increase to your on-foot damage, which Pizza Power is already effectively doing. When the shields go down, the ship's plus 7 damage for 40 seconds. When the ship shields absorb a hit, the ship deals plus 30. This one almost feels useless on the Dart because you have so few shields. But on the Catamaran, this is actually pretty good because you have 4 shield units. So it's going to be buffing that quite a bit. This is good, but I have no more slots. I'm just going to shove it into Pineapple Power and max it out. And you can see my buff is now at 210% on Pineapple Power. So we are at the point where we can one-shot enemy ships very easily. Which means it is going to be perfect for testing the rocket launcher should we get any Corvettes that decide to give us a hard time. Shield unit, I'm going to stick that up in the bridge just for when those go down. It'll be easy to reach. These items are actually really useful. Shield units, damage amplifiers, med EM8s. They're really good for buffing, healing, etc. The shield, think of it like the gunner shield in Deep Rock Galactic. Bullets can't go through it on the exterior, but can pass through it on the interior. So if you're inside, you can shoot out, but you can't shoot through it if you are on the outside of it. And the enemy bots can't shoot through it either, which puts up a protective field for you and your friends should you be out in the open. This just basically heals your health. And then the damage amplifier turns even the pistol into an extremely deadly weapon. Don't get me wrong, it is absolutely great at base. Certainly not doing as much damage as the weapons you pick up along the way. But having unlimited ammo and the accuracy that it has, it's still pretty great. So let's go deal with that jammer. I feel like having a little fun. I've got a couple of rocket launchers, and you know, I know that heavy gunships only take a single hit from a rocket launcher anyway. Let's go demonstrate what that's gonna do with, say, the shotgun. It's only a Mark 1 shotgun. Oh, buddy. Try not to kill everything before I can get there, would you? Goodbye. Oh gosh, it's so much fun. Oh, there is a Corvette. Okay. Perfect. Buddy's done a little bit of damage. Okay, did that? It did lock on. Okay, there it is. Oh, that basically took... It didn't disable it, but it took out all of its health. So... 200+%. Yes, Pineapple Power is buffing the rocket launcher, which is sick. All right, let's go ahead and, you know what, I could just do this. Buddy, pick that up for me. Let's go grab this component. Components, you only get one new, as far as I'm aware, you only can get one new component per run. I've never gotten more than one new component. Picking up duplicates provides ingots. So a little tip, when you're boarding a Corvette, the right side of the ship is the safer place to go, because the right side has more amount of cover. You can get all the way behind cover here. On the left side, there is less cover. This was noticed during the beta. I don't know if it's a design choice or what it is, but you'll notice on the left side, I can't actually get all the way behind cover. It's not possible. I'm going over as far as I can, and there's just not room for me. So the right side of the Corvette is the safest place to land. Not that you can't manage the left side. You certainly can, but the right side provides the most cover when you're getting shot at. So you can see that is a split reactor. That's the starting reactor. So after you've already gotten one new component, pretty sure you can't get any more in that run. But I do believe if you get a component in the run, that the first component that you get in an area that you haven't gotten all the components, in a sector you haven't gotten all the components, I do believe the first one you get is guaranteed to be a new component. So if you're doing it on a high enough difficulty that you're guaranteed to get a component, you can guarantee that you will be getting a new component once per run. And that makes it pretty easy to find all the components. And on the starting map, it shows you whether or not you have components, galaxy map chart fragments, and such in that sector that you haven't found. As I said, they're specific to the sector, so makes it a little bit easier on you to find everything. And I do believe there was some materia dropped. There's another Corvette. Interesting. And it doesn't seem to be disabled. You know what? I'm going to leave the ship here. I'm going to take this full rocket launcher. And we're going to see at this level of power with Pineapple Power, how many shots does it take from a rocket launcher to take it out and completely destroy it? As much as I'd like the artifact, let's just test. Okay. Locking on. Fire. It takes one to disable it from full health. And then I don't even have to test any further. I already know that one more shot from the rocket launcher is going to just kill it, because after it's been disabled, it has enough health to try and prevent you from accidentally killing it so that you can still claim the component. Kolianos, the dev and the father of this game, basically, he personally upped the HP that the Corvettes have after being disabled, because there was a problem we were running into where Buddy was unloading both railguns and then destroying the Corvette before you could claim the component. So he made it to where the Corvettes have quite a bit of health after they're disabled, which makes it harder for buddy or your friends to accidentally destroy them. Makes it a little bit easier for you to guarantee you're going to get components. So, but I do know that the health is not as much as what it has from full health before it's disabled. So, yeah, two rocket blasts is enough to completely destroy a Corvette when you are this powered up with pineapple power. So that's pretty cool. I think the amount of damage a rocket launcher does normally... Oh, and there's material right behind me that I didn't see. I think the amount of damage it does normally is less than a quarter of the Corvette's full health. I could be mistaken. I would need to test that again, because it's been a while since I attempted that strat. In fact, that could be very wrong, because it seems like it only took one rocket launcher to completely disable a Corvette, which would mean it would be at least a third of its damage, since the Corvette gets 3 shots. But I would have to test that, so don't take my word on that. That is purely speculation at this point. Just my shoddy memory, not knowing exactly what it was. So maybe in the next run I will test that out and know for sure. So this mission's pretty cool. This was something, buddy, huh? Okay. I love this mission type. Most of the new missions are a lot of fun. There isn't any mission types I don't like. I do think the original salvage missions are my least favorite. But they're all good. There's really not much point in me using the scanners, because I already know what's here in this mission type. Everything's dead ahead. All the enemy ships. There's usually a couple points of materia that you can pick up if you need them. And I do know that my Mark 1 Maw... yep. I'm an idiot. I installed a new pilot cannon and then didn't power it. Let's light him up. So as you can see, this cannon, it doesn't do as much damage as the other cannons, but as you can see, it looks like a continuous beam, and it's not actually. It's multiple beams, but they're firing so close together that it looks like a continuous beam. So that's crazy rapid fire. So pair that with the artifacts that increase the rapid fire of the ship's weapons. And yeah, it's insanity how much damage it can do. Now with pineapple power, everything's going to go down in a single shot here. I'm really not going to... Unless I get cocky, there's really nothing that's going to be too big of a threat to me right now. Especially given the fact that it's only difficulty 3. Let's see, can I snipe him? No. Oh well. I honestly think the Maw is probably the most powerful weapon when you have pineapple power. And that is because of the spread of the shots. You can wipe tons of things in a single shot like I just did. Plus things that have shields. Anything that does rapid fire with pineapple power. Oh, behind the wall. Okay, buddy. anything that hits things more than once, such as the halberd, side clip, LMG, or in this case, the shotgun, it's going to drop shielded opponents really fast. The javelin almost becomes weaker. I love the javelin, but it is almost weaker when you have pineapple power. Not that it isn't hitting harder, because it certainly is, and spider tanks are going to drop in a single shot. But because it's not doing rapid fire, it's not going to drop shielded opponents as quickly. Shielded opponents take 2 shots minimum to drop, because the shield will completely block the fire from the first shot, no matter how powerful you are. There is no bleed over. It doesn't like excess damage to the shield does damage to the ship's to the opponent's health. So you have to get through the shield, then you can hit the health. So for that reason, the javelin is a little bit weaker in comparison to the other weapons when using pineapple power. And things that can hit, so things that hit multiple times do tons of damage, and I do think the Maul is the best at doing that because it shoots multiple pellets per shot. And so it can, and because of the spread, it can hit tons of things in a single shot and kill it all, even things that are shielded, very easily. All right. Now, I am not going to fuss with that Corvette. I don't really feel like I have time to do so. You are on a time limit before more ships jump in, and you've got to try and get the shields on the ally repaired before they do. Let's see, I put an ammo crate here. All right. Okay, it's over there. Ah, it's a laser. Goodbye. Like I said, the laser drones are glass cannons. They hit like a truck, but they have very small amounts of HP. That is not quite what I intended. And yeah, pineapple power buffs your melee damage too, so it could. Plus, I have the artifact. You see that thing had a shield and it went down in a single shot from the Maw. Javelin's not capable of doing that due to the fact that it only hits once. Does it hit harder than the other weapons? Yeah, but it doesn't hit multiple times. Javelin's still my favorite weapon, though. But I have used them all pretty heavily, and they're all good. They all have different use cases, and I played with a lot of people that prefer different weapons. There was a lady in the beta who absolutely loved them all, so I was able to play this game a handful of times with her. And so whenever I came across a really powerful Maul, I'd usually save it for her just in case I got to play with her. And then, not going to name her just in case she wouldn't want that because I don't have her permission, but yeah. And then there was another guy that was... Everybody in the beta was pretty cool. And there was another guy in the beta who also loved the Javelin as much as I did. So whenever we played together, it was a toss-up who was going to get the good Javelin. At one point, he had a Mark III Javelin, and the best I could find was a Mark I. It was... jerk. But nah, he was real cool. And he was as good with it as I was, if not better, so... You know who you are. If you're seeing this... All right, good deal. And now we have the Disruptor's lasers. I also got enough ingots that I can upgrade something. Oh, and I brought an ammo crate with me. Didn't even realize. Let's run double lance railguns. You know, Buddy's really good with the flak launcher turrets. I'm not good with the flak launchers. I'll admit, I'm terrible with those. Buddy knows how to use them. I do not. They explode. They don't actually impact. They explode in proximity. So they're interesting. Very different from all the others. Like this is the assault turret base. They're pretty powerful. They're pretty effective. The Gatling turrets are probably the most powerful, although Buddy's not very good at using them, to be honest. You have to stop firing after they run out of their magazine. Once the magazine's empty, stop firing, let them refill, then fire again. Because if you are firing before they're fully loaded, they'll just... little Spitfires. They're not going to unload like they should. If you stop firing for a moment, a second or so, they'll completely reload, and then you'll be able to unleash their full fury again. Buddy is bad at realizing that, and he tends to merely fire the little spits after the initial mag is emptied until he's taken out the ship and has something else to move on to, and then he gives it a second long enough to reload. But yeah, no, he's pretty good with the other options. Using the disruptor launchers, I really want the bolt accelerators. Those are my personal favorite. Mass ejector engine, that's the one that shoots off flares. I'm really wanting the nitro pulse engine. That is my personal favorite engine. It's the fastest, it has the most boosts. This is the second fastest, and it's the most maneuverable. Ship turn speed is the best with the drift phase engines, the ones you start with. And they're the second fastest engine in the game. The others, they have different things that they do that this does not. Like, the mass ejector engine is the third fastest, so second slowest engine in the game. It also has less maneuverability than a lot of the other engines, but it allows you to fire off flares, which will throw off tracking from things that are trying to hit you. Generally speaking, I find speed to be more effective at dodging things like missiles and railguns. However, if you are struggling, say that you're not the best pilot, which no judgment here. We all have things we're bad at. Like I said, I'm bad with the flak launchers. So if you are having trouble dodging enemy fire, then perhaps the flare, being able to fire flares is the thing for you. And then the other engine here, and I forget what it's called. It's but it only takes up one square on the power grid. It is the weakest of all the engines by far, but it is the most conservative on your power grid space. So if you're having trouble fitting in an engine, it could be a good option. Especially if you've got so much power rolling in your other artifacts that being able to move fast is irrelevant. So yeah, it depends on your build. I haven't found a use case where it is the go-to choice, but I'm sure somebody's going to find it. And as we get other ships, maybe that becomes more viable depending on what we have, and as we get more components, because I mean, we know that more are coming. So yeah, don't count it out just because you can't make it work now, and that's exactly the mindset I'm taking with it. I personally can't make it work right now, but pretty soon I probably will be. So anyway, we've got one more map chart fragment and one more component in this area, as you can see in possible discoveries. I'm going to take a quick break, guys, and I will be back in just a minute. If there is anything in particular that you would like to see me do out of these missions, let me know. Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. I will be back in just a moment. Let me move that. And there it is. Okay, be right back. All right, back in action. So, what I think I'm going to do... sorry about that. What I think I'm going to do is create an interesting an interesting splash screen that I could throw up whenever I am away for a minute, so that if you are just now joining and I'm not here, you'll know that I will be back in just a moment. I'll probably get working on that tonight. I've also got a few videos I'm going to be throwing together tonight, so I will be busy into the late hours tonight, but it'll be good. All right, I did one of those. I did one of those. I really want to do that sabotage. You know what? It's short. It's challenge 4. It's unlikely that I'm going to find anything too interesting, but we'll see. It's not completely off the table, so the longer the mission, the more likely you are to find interesting things. But arguably, the dart would have been the better choice for this particular mission, but we're stuck in now, so we will make it work. All right, so like I said, I started with a ammo crate, so that's cool. All right, we got anything interesting? No, no map chart fragments, but potentially a Corvette, so we could still potentially get a component. We'll find out. Honest truth, guys, I absolutely love this game. This is probably one of my favorite games from the past 10 years. I've played some good stuff, but this is pretty incredible. People are upset with the bugs, and reasonably so. On Xbox, they've been particularly bad, unfortunately, and I know the devs are hard at work on that, but The game is incredible. We do have a gunship, or a Corvette. Perfect. The game is incredible. The bones are amazing. The devs are extremely hardworking. They want to make are passionate about this game. They want to make it as good as it can be. So please be patient with them. This is early access. I mean, it says right on the starting splash screen, the bugs are to be expected. The game is not complete. It will be, they will be addressed. I remember Coleonis talking about during the beta when he was chatting with us that he said, enjoy the bugs now while you can, guys, because we will crush them all. And that is exactly what they are trying to do. So there have been some funny ones, and that's what we were talking about when he's like, yeah, enjoy it now. It ain't going to be here much longer. So, as you can see, this cannon is only at Mark 1. It's not insanely powerful yet. Okay, we got a jammer. That is exactly what I need to help me unlock. I think those are mines. And then the Corvette's over there. Jammers are exactly what I need in order to unlock the combat suit, which I am trying to unlock. So I'm glad that we did this mission. That's going to push that objective forward. And yeah, I mean, the suits, they're purely cosmetic right now. But I mean, you got to get on that drip, right? And they will eventually have small trait bonuses that they add. So I'm curious to see what they ultimately do with that. Oh, hello, I didn't see you. So apparently he had friends and I didn't notice. Fortunately, Buddy's got 2 railguns now. I think he's only got Mark 1 flak launchers, unfortunately. So I'm not hitting as hard as I'd like, but it'll be all right. We'll make it work. Let's see. So yeah, these guns are not hitting very hard, unfortunately. And it's not that these guns are weak, because they're not. When they're powered up, they actually hit really hard. They're really nice. I just don't have them upgraded at this time. So, and we are doing difficulty 4. So, grabbing my pea shooter and jumping into the deep end, I guess. Generally speaking, it is encouraged. Says fire on the ship, but I'm not seeing any indications. It's underneath. Okay. Generally, before you go tackling higher difficulty missions, I do recommend leveling up ship components. It will make your life easier and make things more doable. Especially in this particular mission. This mission is... There's only 2 jumps, and the end mission is reasonably challenging, so... Let's see, was there any materia dropped by the ships? Yeah, there was a fair amount. And there's a couple of buoys, or there's a buoy and a Corvette. Let's grab that materia. The buddy can give me the materia supply, and I can start doing some repairs on the ship, just in case anything should happen. It is difficulty 4, so you can expect events, and I'd like to get the shields repaired. Unfortunately, I try not to grind up the gnome Nissi. I think it's called Nissi. It's either Nissi or Nice, or not 100% sure. He's a throwback to another game that I personally did not play. You could judge me for that all you like, but I didn't. So I really don't know the context there, but I usually try not to grind up Nissi, but and you know what? I'll just hold off. Let's see what's on the buoy. If I'm still hurting for materia, then sorry, Nissi, but you will be sacrificed for the sake of the mission. Oh, hi, friend. What do we got? Ah, null tension generator. Good. I didn't have that one yet. And that is a personal favorite. Most of the generators are good. It depends on what your build is. And you can mix and match them. You don't have to have two of the same one, because you can have two generators at once on both ships, both the Catamaran and the Dart. Okay. A little bit of lag introduced when that Corvette blew up. Anyway, so I have the biofission generators fully upgraded, which works with my current build, so I'm not going to put this in. But with this no. Okay. Showing the wrong thing. There it is. Now it's showing you the right. So that's the power grid layout. It's a 4 in 2 rows. You got 8 total, 4 in a row down the middle of the power grid. And they're pretty good. As you upgrade them, they'll become... You can get them, I believe, when they're fully upgraded at Mark III, I believe they're all protected squares. So at Mark II, I think it's half of them are protected, and at Mark III, they're all protected. So if you're trying to get entirely protected squares, go with solid state reactor, get it fully upgraded to Mark III, it'll be fully protected, and then get 2 of these null tension generators on board and get them to Mark III, and it'll be fully upgraded, or fully protected. And that way, literally every block on your power grid is a protected space. Right now, protected squares are only doing so much, but the devs are talking about adding ion storms and such to the game, and they're saying that protected squares will play more of a role. Once things like that have been implemented into the game. So right now, I generally am going for the most amount of squares possible and not worrying too much about protected power. And that's because a lot of the best components are very power grid hungry. They take up a lot of spaces. The missile launcher, which we talked about earlier, once you unlock that, it takes up 9 spaces in a square. So 3 up, 3 over, and everything in between. Yeah. That is the most power-hungry component that I am aware of. It's also arguably the most powerful and easy-to-use component for the special weapons. Buddy is really good with the rocket launchers. And they all have uses. Like, there's a shield. There's the Lance Railgun that most people are familiar with. There's the targeting module, which I had equipped earlier. The shield and the targeting module, Buddy doesn't use for some reason. So they're kind of useless in solo play, unless you're going to get out and man the combat station. You can do it yourself, which the shield is almost impossible to do because you have to be in range of combat for the shield to be effective, because it only lasts for a brief second. And then It only lasts for a brief second. So you actually have to be locked onto, knowing you're about to be hit, and then use the shield. And if you are piloting the ship, jumping to the combat station to do that just doesn't make any sense. You're not going to get there in time. Oops. So, and since Buddy doesn't use it, it's basically useless. The targeting module is not completely useless. It stacks with the targeting sensor that you can get, which I do believe I have unlocked. At any rate, the targeting module I think is like a 20% buff, and the targeting sensor is also like a 20% buff, and I think they also make it to where your shots are more accurate and more. It's easier to score crits. So potentially it can make your damage easier, a lot better. But you would use it before you were. If you're doing solo, you would use it before you engage. And then it could save you some ammo. So not completely useless, but I do think you get more use out of the other components if you're playing solo. Sorry, Nissy. And then, yeah. Let's see. You know what? I still have a bit of shields. Let's, in case I find any shield units or anything in this jammer over here, or the buoy, I'd rather hold off crafting anything. I'm really tight on materia right now. And my weapons are really weak on this ship. I want to try to conserve my materia as much as possible, because it's going to be imperative to me surviving this mission. All right, let's see what we got. Railgun. Scrap. That's going immediately in the disassembler. And then medstem. Most of this other stuff really isn't worth much materia. The weapons and the stems, they're only worth about 5 materia, and you're probably going to get greater use out of actively using those things. But probably in the final jump, I'm probably not going to use the railgun. So 5 materia is 5 materia. The healing stem, I'm going to use now, top myself off. I'm going to leave it here. I don't see myself using the firearms much. Oh, that's not even worth anything. Oh, that's because I brought it in the mission with me. Right. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy that on the bridge, and then I won't have to resupply ammo, since it isn't worth anything anyway. And then components. I'd really like to hang on to the components if I can help it. Let's go ahead and craft. This is the most materia efficient way to craft them, is in the 3-pack. Yes, it's more expensive in the initial buy, but in the long run, it saves you materia. And then let's go ahead and craft ship ammo. Buddy will use the things that I am putting down, the ammo, and I'm just going to leave it on the floor to guarantee Buddy uses that. And then a shield unit is worth 30. I have just enough to get ship health topped off, ammo topped off. Hopefully I'll be able to get more material along the way. I'll have to be mindful of grabbing any that the ships drop in the next sector. Yeah. I did say there was a jammer left, so let's go do with that. And I potentially could scrap a few things there in the hopes of... Oh, there's the landing pad. Okay. In the hopes of getting myself enough supplies to be able to complete the mission. This mission is a bit of a challenge when you are hurting for materia, especially, and it's very easy to be hurting for materia because it's only a 2-jump mission. But it is the biggest thing hurting me right now is my weapon choice for the ship's guns. If I chose better guns, not better guns, but more powered up guns, then this would be easier for me to do. But as I am using Mark 1 cannons and turret systems right now, it's putting me in a little bit of a bind, but it'll be all right. If we fail, I'll lose my guns, whatever. I can find more. If I win, it'll be a feather in my cap. Look what I pulled off. I do think we're going to win it, though. But we'll see. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. There's sometimes... Nope, no shelving there this time. Okay. Sometimes there are stuff over there worth checking. But I'm not seeing too much loot here to start with. That's okay. There should be some good stuff in there, hopefully. Maybe some overpowered artifacts or something to make the final jump easier. We'll see. Okay. Now, especially when you're tight on materia, I personally prefer to conserve ammo and use the pistol to deal with the weak points. And save my weapons for the robots. For the Legion. And anything Buddy can destroy, great. Alright, more units should pop open. Cool. Okay, those countdowns on the exterior there. And yes, I aim down sights for everything. It's a habit at this point. Probably shouldn't be. I played a ton of Deep Rock Galactic, and aiming down sights wasn't even an option there, but when I started playing this game and started aiming down sights, I absolutely fell in love. Did any robots spawn? It's very peculiar. Oh, there's one. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Being difficulty 4, I was expecting much more than that. Maybe they are taking it easy on me since it took me so long to drop the ships due to my cannons being so weak. Ah, we got 3 crates. Okay. Let's crack them open. Let's get things hopping. Yeah, you can start sending things back to the ship before the crates are fully open, which saves you time. Let's see. Can I jump? Can I jump? Please let me jump. Yeah, I'm not going to make it in time. Okay, well, the ship should not take damage from the explosion. But I will. I'm just going to get clear. If the ship takes damage, then it's something new they've added. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because it's a little busted if the ship doesn't take damage. Okay, it didn't, but yeah. Or if it did, it took very minimal damage. Alright. Oh, we got pineapple power again. Unfortunately, there's not much point in me doing pineapple power. I'm not going to be getting out of the ship much for this mission. Friendly fire. This is a really great artifact for multiplayer. It is useless to me playing in solo, but you can revive players from shooting them if they're downed, and you can heal each other from shooting each other. So it's great artifact. shield reflector. When shields are damaged, 15% of that damage is dealt to the attacker. That's good. Probably will install that. Legion blueprints. Initial shot does extra damage. Good. The ship shields absorb a hit. Health to the core. Great. On foot damage. Again, that's not going to help me in this particular mission because I really will not be getting out of the ship much. So, as there are no more jumps, there's no more chances for me to get artifacts. So, there's no point in me saving the center slot like I would normally do in the event that I'm going to get that artifact that buffs other artifacts. So, I'm just going to put everything right here. Doesn't really matter where you put them. And then I'm going to use these to buff the other artifacts. Let's go ahead and just toss my weapons down for a second so I can pick all these up. Let's see, what's worth buffing? Should I buff one thing a lot, or should I buff all of them evenly? Legion blueprints. I mean, the extra damage would be huge. And then shield reflector. When the shields are damaged, 15% of the damage is dealt to the attacker. That's great, but I'm probably not going to have a lot of time to... deal with the shields. Here's the catch, though. Each of these is worth 20 materia, and I am really hurting for materia. I'm just going to disassemble them. I hate doing it, but I feel like I need the materia more than I need the artifact buffs. And we've got a ton of repairs, or at least 3 repairs. So that's 3 units of health that Buddy can repair in a dire situation. That'll be helpful. My goal will be to complete this mission as fast as possible, because the less damage I take, the fewer shots I have to put out, the more likely I am to succeed. I have a couple shield units left. We're good to go. All right, we got 73 materia. How much ammo do we have? 4 with 2 to spare. Are we going to burn through ammo quickly? Probably not. But as weak as these cannons are hitting, it's going to take a lot of extra shots to do anything serious. I'm going to be hyper-focusing the points. There are several repair units. We're just going to wing it. We are going to wing it. And hope for the best. Fully topped off. These artifacts should help with the damage output problems I'm having, but they're not powered up enough, I think, that it's going to be a cure-all for the situation, but it will alleviate some of the difficulty I'm having, so... Okay, so sometimes there's goodies to be found on the capturable points. I'm going to check the first one. I don't want to spend a lot of... Whoops, wrong button, sorry. I don't want to spend a lot of time dawdling. The faster I complete the uplink, the override, the quicker this mission ends, and the less likely I am to lose. So I don't want to spend a lot of time messing around, but I don't want to leave behind something that could make or break the mission either. So, and yeah, this is generally the strat I go with on sabotage. You don't even have to get out of the ship to capture the point. You just have to get close. Now, I am going to get out of the ship temporarily. There's usually some goodies right here. Just... Oh, hello. Okay, so he obviously took damage from the ship's guns, or he would not have gone down that easily. That could potentially come in handy, depending on my ammo situation. Alright. I'm just going to hang on to it. Let's get to the next point, which I think that the closest point is B. Enemies will spawn in, and we'll drop in those drop pods as soon as we get in range. So, and then we'll start getting enemy ships spawning in as well, which is where the rub is going to lie in this particular run, being that my materia is so low and my cannons are so weak. But yeah, shelling the enemies from above and not getting out of the ship really speeds up the process here, makes this mission much more doable in solo. Okay, as soon as this point is captured, we're going to have ships jumping in. And let's get to A. There they are. Welcome, friends. Buddy, if you could deal with those, that would be great. He does have 2 Mark III rail guns. So potentially, okay, they're capturing C. We're going to capture A, then we're going to jump to C. The more points I have captured, the faster the override goes. You have to have at least 2 captured to be making progress. At 1, progress is halted. And when you have none of them captured, you start losing progress. So be quick with it. So with 2 captured, I'm making progress right now. We're just going to start shelling it. Not entirely sure where the ground units are, but... Oh, there is a tank. Spider tank right there. Okay, he's down. Let's see if that was enough to capture the point. It's contested. Where is it contested? Oh, I see you. Oh, wait. Captured it. Okay, cool deal. Looks like we have all the points. Let's go ahead and deal with the ships, so we're taking less fire. Speaking of fire... Ooh, materia. Nice. That is exactly what I need. If I have time to put out that fire, that would be wonderful, but we will see. We have almost captured everything. Progress bar is over 75%, so we're doing good. Time to put out the fires. Okay, they're capturing a point. Right, I have a rocket launcher. Can't pick that up. Okay. Buddy, if you could... we lost a point, but we are going to capture for good, and then we'll just have to capture that point. Fires are not out. We have enough repairs that the ship will not go down. So my first priority here is to take out the enemy ships. I do believe they stopped spawning at this point, which is good for me. And then... So the fast... Okay. And we have supplies. I was able to pick up materia. Nice shot, buddy. Good shot. Alright, I think this is the last enemy ship. Wonderful. Buddy putting in work on this one. Okay, let's put out the fires. Okay, good deal, buddy. He repaired the ship and cleaned out the material filters. Alright, now all we have to do is go capture the point. I don't think anything else is going to spawn in, so there's not a lot of point in expending resources on repairs. And I shouldn't use any more ammo. And even if I do, not a big deal. Materia doesn't come back with you. It doesn't count to your end rewards. It's only good for in the mission, so if Buddy decides to craft more ammo, it is not the big deal. Okay, as soon as this is captured, cutscene. Cool. All right, we won. I was a little concerned, but we made it. And I believe that was the last component we needed from this region. I think we still need one more map chart fragment, though. Uh, yeah. Yeah, one more map chart fragment. So, let's go ahead and do this cargo ship raid. I've done everything else in this area. And Kryn, right? Oh, we're in Pillars of Korra, so Kryn is over here. Got it. I understand. Okay. I gave him the flak launchers before. Let's put him back to the Gatlings because they're more powerful. I'm gonna retake the fragment because they're more powerful. Not because they're more powerful, because I have these things more upgraded. He's got dual lance railguns, which is solid. The null tension generator. I would love to start getting that upgraded, but I'd also love to start getting the guns upgraded. What should I put these ingots into? My gun situation is pretty good. Let's go ahead and get this upgraded because that will be better for the dart. And then for fun, let's go ahead and take the dart on the next one. We got dual fragment cannons. We got the lance railgun, drift phase engine, supply uplink unit. All right. There's actually no reason to not swap it over to this. Everything will work on that I have equipped, I believe. So, yeah, should be good. Okay. And then I selected the mission. All right. Let's get to it. And I think that's probably going to be, this is going to be the last mission I do on this stream. This is a little bit of a longer mission, so I think this is going to wrap it up, but pardon me. Let's see, we got, yep, map chart fragment there. Okay, go here, 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 then there. This is repair kits. What is this? Yeah, let's do the repair kits. So, I don't know if you guys realize this, but pressing forward, if you're playing on controller, you're pressing forward on the control stick. And if you're on mouse and keyboard, you're going to be pressing forward on W, I believe. At any rate, pressing forward, pressing forward while jetpacking increases your speed. So, makes it a little bit easier to catch enemy ships if you're trying to board them and they're trying to fly away from you. All right. Let's see what we got. Anything of interest? There's an signature here. It's a buoy. And then the objective, and we can just avoid the sentries. So let's do the buoy. I wasn't trying to grab the... Okay, that works. I was trying to grab the grapple point. But, looks like this is the only thing here to pick up anyway. Now, I am particularly fond of this, this sector. It's a personal favorite. It was in the demo. I loved it in the demo. I still love it. We've seen a lot of cool things that they've added since the demo, and there's a lot of new sectors, but this one's just fun for me. It gets that, it scratches that on foot FPS itch without being overly drawn out and complicated. It's a lot of fun, I find. Plus, I like snow, so I really love the aesthetic of this area. But it's just me. A lot of people hate snow. That is perfectly respectable, perfectly understandable. People hate shoveling it, which makes sense. Now, there's usually no enemies in the opening here until you get things started. I got a Mark II halberd. You know what? I'm going to swap the maul for that. I use the maul for a bit. I'd rather use the halberd right now. And that's a little bit of a replacement for the Mark III one I lost in that artillery mission. Okay. In Mark II, I feel like the weapons are still really good. They're not quite as powerful, but they still have really good scopes and such, so not too shabby. Now, if we'll be able to buy Mark III weapons at the vendors, I think that's going to be fun. I put over 100 hours into the beta, and I didn't get to use a single Mark III javelin. So I haven't used a Mark III javelin since the demo. So looking forward to being able to do that. Hopefully I'll find one soon, and if not, vendors will get added, and I'll hopefully be able to buy one. But this Mark II javelin's not bad. It still hits pretty hard, and it has a nice scope. Oh, cool. That's right here. When the RNG works in your favor. See, I mean, with a crit on most things, it's a one-shot anyway with the Mark II javelin. So you don't absolutely need the Mark III, but it's a nice to have. See what I mean? They could jump over cover now. I love it. No more targets, you say? You were a bit mistaken, buddy. Okay. He was like, yeah, you could shoot me. I don't need a shield. Yeah, these things are not one-shots. Well, the flyers are, but the walkers, they're not one-shots unless you hit the critical points, which is the glowing red eye. Okay, out in the open. I can fully expect to get jumped here while I do this. No? Okay. Legion's playing nice today. Yeah, as you can see, I did take him out in a single shot because I hit him in the side, not the... I think it was the leg I hit him in. Didn't hit him in the crit point. Sounds like a spider tank just spawned in. No idea where it is. Ah, there it is. I see it. Let's drop you, and then... So the spider tanks actually... A lot of these bots will have 2 weak points. there will be an equivalent. There is the center eye, which is a weak point, and then they will have. I need ammo. And then they will have an equivalent weak point in the same location on the back side of their head. So, especially the spider tank, it's got a pretty noticeable weak point on the back. The flyers also have it. The walkers have it, but it's a much smaller weak point, harder to hit. But it is there. And it's not as brightly indicated on the walkers. But if you look for it, you'll see it. Oh. Okay. Nice shot, bud. I'll take it. Oh, that's up there. On the balcony. Should be the final interruption. Let's see if I can show you guys that weak point. Nah, Buddy's going to kill it first. Okay. I don't think I used any halberd ammo, but I'm... Make sure everything's topped off. Yeah, it's good. Okay. Alright. I've talked about it before. but the grapple points really speed you up. If you use them, if you grapple, and then before you reach the grapple point, you release by pressing jump with that space or A, depending on whether or not you're using mouse and keyboard or controller. And then friendly fire, carnage, and desperate barrage. Okay. And then release just before you hit the grapple point, or about halfway through, whichever. It doesn't matter, but as long as you've picked up speed, and then you release. And then hold down the jump, whatever that is for you. You will hover and have a good amount of speed that'll carry you through, even if you're carrying something heavy that would normally prevent you from running. Friendly fire is unfortunately useless in solo play. Less damage. I mean, that's pretty good. I'm going to put these on the side in case I get something better. These are good artifacts. They're worth using, but there are more busted artifacts that we could potentially find along the way. All right, which one's going to buff my damage? This damage for 40 seconds when the shields go down. Okay, this was that Mark 1 Maw rocket launcher. Only have 50 materia, but we're stacking up on ship repairs. Ah, I had one of the guns offline. Let's address that. Cool. Yeah, make sure our destination's set. And jump. Getting ambushed. Okay. Okay. This is the rapid pulse cannon, which I believe it was. I'll have to double check now. I might not have swapped it. Anyway, good materia. Didn't really take any serious damage there. Hardly any at all. What was it? Was it? Oh, no, it's the fragment cannons. Okay, those are I have at Mark III. All right. Back to what I was doing. All right, make the jump. Okay. Mines, heavy gunship, gunship. Those are elites. Ship remains. We got a jammer. I don't really see too much in this area, so I guess we'll make short work of it. First things first, grab the materia, take out the mines, and then deal with the ships. Unless those are the mines down there. Yeah, I might be able to ignore those. Oh, materia's on the other side of this wreckage. Okay. Should be able to slip in up here. Yep. Okay. Let's deal with these elite ships. I guess I triggered a mine. We got a Corvette here, which is the jammer ship. So we're going to get not a new component, but some ingots anyway. There are no more components for me to find in this region, so. But we will get the final map chart fragment because I've already seen it on the map. And I didn't do something silly, right? Nope, I didn't. I'm going the right direction. Double checking myself, guys. I am human too. I make mistakes. Far more frequently than I would like. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, there's no reason to not replenish ammo and repair the shields. Looks like there's some remains that will be worth salvaging from the Corvette. So you know what? Just in case, let's check that before I do anything else. So we're not making duplicates of stuff. Railgun, small ship repair, scrap, med unit, second med unit, grid reductor. That's a really important blitz, and another med unit. Okay, cool. So grid redirector is a really good artifact, particularly for the dart. It's good whenever you have a lot of extra squares, because the more empty spaces you have on the power grid that are powered, the more powerful it becomes, and it just buffs your damage. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Not right now. I'll be out shortly. Sorry about that, guys. So let's see, got another repair unit. Where is grid redirector? Is boarding blitz is grid redirector. So this one, I'm gonna want to buff as much as I can help. Boarding blitz is not super helpful for me. The only things I'm going to be boarding are Corvettes, and I'm not going to be dealing with them until after the fighting's already over. So getting a buff after I've destroyed the ship by boarding it, that's really not going to do me any good. So I'm just going to feed that to grid redirector, increase my shots damage. Jump signatures from a squad detected, huh? You know what? Unless they bring in a jammer, I should be able to just ignore them. Let's see if we can get out before they get here. Okay. All right, we got a buoy, we got ship remains, and yeah, this is an ambush. I mean, I could just ignore this if I wanted to, but kind of curious what goodies that cache is going to have. So, whatever you have, just a random cache floating in space, no threats, it's a trap. And you can do anything in any order that you want. Once the trap has been dealt with, the enemy stops spawning, and you can treat it like normal. But on foot ammo box, those useful. Scrap. Let's see, we got anything good? Railgun, not bad. Damage amplifier and a med stim. Okay, not the best hull, but far from the worst. I'm going to... I got enough materia. I'm just going to hang on to that for now. Um, Railgun. I don't really think I've got anywhere to put you other than in the one space I try to put ship repairs, etc. So we're going to put that there. Does this fit here? It does. Okay, cool deal. All right. We're going to head to the cache. I'm going to get jumped, but it is what it is. I should... I'll repair the shields real quick before the assault begins. And this thing drops stuff so fast, I ain't worried about it. I'll be on a timer, but with infinite spawns until the timer runs out. Now, this thing's fast and agile. The ship, the dart, so... Alright. I'm just going to pop out. Just throw the shield unit down there so I can repair after the fight. I think I was in range, so I should be able to just... Yeah. Is there anything? Shield reflector. Not super helpful on the dart, but that... Okay, none of those are great on the dart. I'll grab them in a minute. Let's just get back to the dart so it's not a sitting duck when the ships jump in. There they are. The catamaran can take a better, more of a punch than the dart. So when the dart's moving, it is smaller than the catamaran, so it's harder for the enemies to hit when it's a moving target. It's also so you're going to absorb less shots from the enemies when you're flying the dart than when you're flying the catamaran, if you know what you're doing. And its firepower from its pilot cannons is really good. So dropping enemy ships is really powerful. If you have a good pilot, you don't really need a gunner on the dart. Not that it isn't helpful, but the pilot can technically do everything himself if necessary. As far as fighting, as far as dogfights are concerned. However, gunner station is just fun to man. Once you unlock the missile launcher, it's really good on the dart. I've been the gunner in the railgun with one of my friends. He was piloting the dart, and I was using the railgun. And if you're a decent shot, that's actually a lot of fun to do. The dart's moving around so much, it can be hard to hit things with the railgun, but that's what makes it fun. Okay, this is closer. Goodbye. And then, I'm going to let him survive till the timer run. Unless Buddy takes him out. Let's just get clear, and then no more ships should spawn in. If I take him out, I'll probably get another wave. But if I just let him survive until the timer is done, good. Then he should be the last ship. Okay. And yes, I was intentionally making Buddy miss his railgun shot. I didn't want him to drop that fighter before the timer was done. And I was just guessing at when Buddy was going to fire, estimating it based upon when he shot last. He will fire it as soon as it becomes available. So I was estimating at what point the railgun was becoming charged for a second shot. All right, well, that's all that. There really wasn't much there, but useless artifacts are not useless. They can be fed to good artifacts or reduced to materia, whatever the situation calls for. So that I'm just going to feed to this one for the extra power. This is not a terrible artifact. I do think doing extra damage is probably going to be... We're taking less damage. Actually, I'm already dealing enough damage. What does this one do? That just adds extra damage. Let's do this because it will decrease the amount of damage that I take, which seems more useful. Plus, if I get the buff artifact, that'll get maxed out with a single upgrade to that. So, as early in the run as we are, I would rather not max out those center artifacts just yet. All right, and no reason to stick around any longer. Let's get to the next area. Okay, the radioactive fuses area. I see ships off to the left there. It's usually sentries. There's my galaxy map chart fragment. I'm just going to take everything down, then I'll deal with the fragment, then I'll deal with the radioactive fuses. So, what am I going to hit first? That or that? Those are further away. Okay, and it's a Corvette that just jumped in. Alright, that's fine. I'm doing enough damage, so it's not going to take long to drop things. Goodbye, materia. Let's drop these, since they will be able to hit me while I deal with the map chart fragment. So no reason to not take those out. Sounds like we're out of ammo. Buddy just replenished, but I'd rather do it myself. It's a little bit cheaper than having Buddy do it, since he will only craft the single units. Let's go ahead and plug in another shield unit. Why not? And then let's do this. Definitely not hurting for materia right now. Max fill on the Dart is 600. Max fill on the Catamaran is 1,000. I'm already at 465, so easily 75% of the way there. Little. What is targeting me there? Oh, there's a ship down there. Didn't see him. Okay. Good deal. We got a couple fighters here. Let's deal with those. My recommendation when you're in ship battle, or any battle, and this works in a lot of different games, not just this game, but the fewer guns you have firing at you, the fewer enemies you have attacking you, the less likely you are to take damage. And ultimately, the less damage you are going to take. Corvettes take a lot of bullets to drop. And so you're going to be shooting at them for an extended period of time. And because they take so long to drop, that means that you're going to be focusing on that so long that other things are going to have a shot at you for longer. Whereas if you were to just simply drop the other ships first, you would have fewer guns shooting at you while you do with the Corvette. So generally, I save Corvettes for last, which I save Corvettes for last because it just limits the amount of guns shooting at me and therefore the amount of damage I'm ultimately going to take. All right, got standard turrets. Like I said, there are no new components for me to get in this region, so this map chart fragment, I believe, is the last thing for me to acquire from this region, and then I will be able to move on to Kryn and finish cleaning up that. Kryn, I believe, is where you get the missile launchers special weapon. I could be mistaken. I'd have to go back and look at my footage to see where I got everything. All right. Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting to use my supply uplink. Mark II Iron Belt. That's a pretty good gun. Being boarded. Okay. Well, you see, even those little spider crab flamethrower things have weak points on the back of them. Their eyes are their weak points, and then they have a weak point in the equivalent position on their back. I might try and keep that when I leave the mission if I don't find something better. I'm not a huge LMG fan. Don't get me wrong, it's a great gun. It's just not my personal playstyle. Mark II Maul. Actually, I'd rather keep that than the LMG. Not really a spray and pray kind of guy. I prefer precision weapons, personally. And if I'm going to forgo the precision, then I'd rather have a shotgun. And I am swimming in repairs. So, yeah. Let's put that over here. And I marked destination. Good. We can go ahead and get the mission started. Get this sector out of the way. Cool. And there's sometimes some decent weapons in this little area, so it's worth checking. Nothing right here, though. It's not uncommon for there to be one on one of these shelves. It's also not uncommon for there to be one here, but no such fortune on this run. That's okay. All right. Probably a Corvette. Yeah, Corvette. Probably won't attack the ship while I'm doing this. If it does, I won't be far away. So those red glowing strips on the back of the flyer is their weak point. Also, sometimes there's like a weapon here or something that you can pick up anyway. Certainly not always, but, you know, worth checking. If you come to this particular point, all the points have places where you can find things of value. And everything's just kind of random, so part of the roguelite element that this game exhibits. When you're using the dart, I put the radioactive rod towards the back of the airlock typically because it leaves the combat station unirradiated. And normally you're not going to be at the sensor long enough to warrant dying from radiation. Now, if you were to move it there, as you can see, you're now irradiated while manning the combat station. But I do believe you are free to use the sensor. So, pick your poison. I'd rather have the radiation off the ship before I take the combat to him, so I don't have guns and things cutting out in the middle of the battle. Now, there's a shortcut in this particular area. Sometimes there's things here on the shelf, just so you know. I don't see anything there. 2 batteries. Should have come here first. And this is the shortcut. Alright, let's go deal with the radiation. And then we can deal with the Corvette. I would like to deal with the Corvette because ingots. I want them. I need upgrades. My goal is to unlock all the components, all the regions, everything, and then focus on getting enough ingots to fully upgrade all the components. to be able to show you guys what they all do fully upgraded. And to be frank, I don't know what they all do fully upgraded. I unlocked all the components in the beta. I sadly did not have enough time to... see what they all did when they were fully upgraded because I didn't get a chance to fully upgrade them all. Oh, thank you. I'll be out momentarily. All right, we got some artifacts. There's pineapple power. I've been getting that a lot today. Sadly, it is useless on the dart, but my friend gets so annoyed when I try to take advantage of pineapple power. He hates lighting the ship on fire. Okay, so this artifact, Mass Proxy. This is the #1 artifact to have with the disruptor lasers. If you get this maxed out and your materia rate high, your rate of fire is so fast that the disruptor lasers do a buttload of damage. All right. This just re-rolls all your artifacts. I don't think I've actually ever used that one, because I usually like the artifacts I have. When someone is healed by eating pizza, that's pineapple power. And then shield recycle. When the ship's shields absorb a hit, heal the ship's core by 10 HP. Now that one's good when it's upgraded. So tell you what, we're just going to go ahead and install that one and use the rest for upgrades. And I'm thinking what I'm going to upgrade is either the grid redirector or rate of fire. Our materia is pretty much maxed out at this point, so the rate of fire would be very high if I were to max this. Things would melt very quickly. Yeah, why not? I'm already doing a ton of damage. With fire rate, we'll just drop corvettes and things a lot faster. Cool, dude. Alright, we're marked to go to the next area, and I did indeed grab the map fragment. I did say there was a corvette, I believe. So let's check that real quick. Here. So here's the thing with the speed. Your top speed is what you can hit with max boosts. And it's about 130, 131. I'm going to assume that's kilometers per hour on the Dart with this particular engine maxed out. Now, the Catamaran, yeah, look at that fire rate. Good Lord. That thing didn't stand a chance. Okay. So basically, the max speed is the same on both ships. The disadvantage to the Catamaran, which makes it slower, is the fact that you drop speed more quickly. On the Dart, you're able to maintain your speed for a good distance. Which makes it easier to maintain top speed by feathering the boosts out when you are using the Dart. But if you feather your boosts, you'll realize once you've hit top speed, you can't go any faster. So if you use a boost while you are at top speed, you just wasted that boost. There was no benefit to it. So ideally, you're going to have, in the corner of your eye, you're going to be looking at the HUD showing your speed. And when you start to drop below a certain percentage of speed, then you're going to go ahead and hit a boost. And so you can keep your top speed going for quite a ways. I'd say when you get down to about 120 kilometers with this engine maxed out, then then it's worth hitting another boost. And then by the time you get dropped down to that again, you're going to be close to having another boost charged up. And you can almost boost infinitely that way. The Nitro Pulse engine can get over 140 kilometers, and that was on Mark II. I never got it to Mark III. And it gets up to 5 boosts. It fires boosts. Its boosts recharge more slowly than the drift phase engine. But you get so many of them, it doesn't really make much of a difference. You really are going to have infinite boosts with that engine. Jab signature. Probably a Corvette. Let's see. I don't see anything, Iris, but... Okay. Enemy ships will be spawning in just a moment. They will not last long with this build on the Dart, but... Alright, we got Missile Gunship, it's gone. Elite Gunship, it's gone. Another Missile Gunship, it's toast. We got a break. We're gonna need ammo. Okay. Okay. We got snipers. Boost. There, and we dodge. And boost. And dodge. Drop the snipers. Deal with this. So the snipers indicate when they're going to shoot. You can see them triangulating your position with the laser crosshair. If you are mindful and you boost just before they shoot you, you can dodge their attack. There shouldn't be any more breaks, I don't think. Since it doesn't give you on-foot breaks when you are solo. Just ship breaks, and there's only 2 points that could break in this particular sector on ship. So, should just continue until the progress bar is full. Nice shot, buddy. Okay. Break is done. There were no more breaks. We're good to go. And all we did was lose shields. Everything went down fast enough. It didn't really matter. Oh, thought I saw some materia over there. All right. Side note. There are keys you can press to make the ship go up and down. They can be helpful, but bear in mind they kill your momentum. So try to get this. That should be good. Okay. Just want at an angle where it would be easy to get this loot out. Doesn't really matter too much, I suppose, given the fact I am solo. I'm just going to buddy take most of it. But if you're in multiplayer, Pizza Brawler is great. if you have a bunch of components to carry, since Buddy can't do components, then being in a position where you can quickly transition to your ship and back is helpful. And if you're in multiplayer, it's helpful. I really don't think I have any more slots, do I? Nope. Nope. So all these are to be fed. Plus, to be honest, most of these are not useful on this ship in solo. So what do we want to power up? I mean, we're already doing buttloads of damage. Taking less damage could be the ticket. Have to repair less. So let's get that topped off. We got tons of really good artifacts in this run. It's actually kind of nuts how many we've gotten. And then I'm going to put this one into... Yeah, why not? All right. Materia is maxed out. There's 0 point to try and acquire any more materia. Everything else I grab is loot at this point. It's going to start spilling into the engineering room. If this were Star Trek, I wonder if Scotty would have a fit. We've got repairs for days. Lots of components, lots of stuff. Yeah, and our ship is way overpowered. It's going to make this pretty easy. The only thing is not overpowered is my on-foot combat. So, since that is a big part of this final jump, it is relevant. But I do believe this was only difficulty 3, so I'm not worried. And even if it was difficulty 5 without any buffs, I've done it many times before, so I'm not too worried. But let's go ahead and load up the ammo before we start. Let's get this underway. Understand, when I say this is only difficulty 3, I'm not mocking people who find difficulty 3 challenging. If you find difficulty 1 challenging, you certainly have a place in jump space. I am not judging in the slightest. That is, we are all at different levels. I have been gaming for quite a while. I have a lot of practice under my belt. So difficulty 5 in this game is not that hard for me, but for different people, it would certainly be a challenge. And there's no judgment here. Everybody's welcome. We want you all. As the guys keep saying in the Discord, get on jump space. Skill level is frankly irrelevant to me. If you are having a good time, I'm glad you're here. If you're having a good time, if you're positive and kind, you are certainly welcome. All right. Let's see. We've got 9 minutes total to get all the cargo out, which I think is more than enough. Especially on this difficulty. I'm going to go ahead and risk grabbing this component. I normally wouldn't, and I would normally advise against it, but but I think it's doable. Yeah, we're at max materia again. Alright, back to the ship. I believe that is the entrance. Educated guess. And there's really no point in me healing the ship. No enemies are going to spawn in until the timer runs out. We've got a little over 7 minutes left on the timer. So, all right, let's get this underway. Top off ammo. Whoops, that's off the ship. No loot in the beginning area. I guess it's only worth material. I thought it was worth credits too. It's not. That was not worth grabbing. Oh well. These, on the other hand, are worth credits. All the loot was in here. Just gonna put this here. I heard a spider tank spawn in. Let's go ahead and get the cargo crate spawning in. Oh wait, maybe it was this guy I heard. Okay, whatever. Adios. Cargo's over there. Okay. I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna miss again if I do that. Let's just jump from the balcony. All right. I feel like I personally perform better under pressure. So like when it's on higher difficulty, I make fewer mistakes than when it's on a lower difficulty. If it's on lower difficulty, I do all kinds of dumb things. I think it's because I become a bit lax. All right, and momentum's gone. But we should be able to jetpack now. Perfect. Got 4.5 minutes left. Got a mag and 18 shots remaining. It's over there. Ah, bounced my head off of it. Like I said, making tons of mistakes right now. Plus, I have been playing for a while, starting to get a little tired and needing a break. Alright, well, this is the last of the necessary cargo units. I should be able to jetpack. Perfect. And then there's the 3 bonus. I should have more than enough time to grab those. So, oh, hi, friend. So, in my personal opinion, the halberd has higher DPS than the javelin. I still prefer the javelin. I like that one shot, one down kind of playstyle. It just suits me. Plus, the javelin is better at range. The the halberd, while not terrible at range, has a fair amount of recoil that can throw off your aim at hitting weak points at distance. So if you're trying to snipe weak points, then the javelin is your go-to weapon. And I spend a lot of time doing that. So now see that I hit the weak point on his back there. Excuse me, sir. Okay, this is behind. I heard something. I heard a heavy spawn in. So we've got 2 more bonus crates, including this one. Should be able to cut through here. And there. Yep, spider tank. Okay. But we should be able to just ignore him. Alright, last one, and then we can get out. I'm probably not going to bother with that spider tank if I can just ignore him. Okay. Okay. Alright guys, well, I don't know what's going on there. I've never had a stream go on this long, so maybe YouTube's not happy about me going on this long. So it seems like the image quality has completely degraded, and we froze for a minute there. I had to tweak some things. This is definitely the last mission of the stream. I am sorry. All right, we got 9 ingots out of that. That makes me happy. All right, cool deal. All right, guys, I am going to sign off. I appreciate everybody who joined, who commented. We unlocked the Icarian reaches. Nice. All right. Everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining, and thank you for commenting, and just being yourselves. I hope to see you next time, and I'll catch you later.